This is Rick Morris. These are recovery videos for alcohol and drug abuse. We're on step 9. This is episode 3, titled Unintended Consequences. We made a direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. The verse I selected was, "The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer." Proverbs 15:28. You know, it's rare, but sometimes we cannot make amends because it would harm the person that we're trying to reconcile with. What is, can you think of an example of a case of this? Well, occasionally there's someone so fragile that to talk to them about the past could push them over the edge. In this case, you write a letter and you give it to someone you trust who will give you feedback, and that way you're making amends to this person without injuring them. Now, you might ask, what if someone is so filled with hate that to see or speak with me might be a disaster? Well, my answer is the intent of making amends um, is to make things right. But in a case where you're sure anything you say would not be received, it would also be best to use an unmailed letter. Be sure and get someone to read it before you put it in the trash. Make sure you worded it properly. What can I do, or what can we do to remedy these situations? I think the best thing you can do is pray. There is awesome power in prayer. You might say or ask, Rick, how do you know that? Well, prayer is communication with the creator of the universe. He has the power to do things we cannot even come close to doing. The more you pray, the stronger your relationship with Him is, and your faith will grow. Your confidence will be in Him and what He can do, not what you can do. If you get in the habit of praying, you will stay sober. Now, let me give you a personal example. Uh, I've got several, but I'll give you this personal example. When I was in high school, I was about 16, 17 years old, and I was in church one day, and the offering plate passed by, and I reached in my pocket, and I knew I had 50 cents, 2 quarters, to my name. I don't know what compelled me that day, whether I had some kind of extra faith or I can't remember. But I reached in my pocket and I took out my last penny, put it in the offering plate, and then I went to work at a drugstore. I worked every Sunday from 1 to 11 p.m. and I was in the soda fountain. Well, about 5 o'clock, 5:30, we started our dinner rush, and I was making malts and cooking hamburgers and fries, and I began to get hungry. And this tempter on one shoulder said, "Hey, Rick, just make you a cheeseburger, make it just like you like it, and you can step back in the storeroom and eat it, and nobody will ever know the difference." And then on the other shoulder says, you don't want to do that. You'd be a thief. And so I struggled a little while, but I kept resisting. Well, about 30 minutes after the rush hour, my best friend in high school called me and he said, hey, bud, my family's cooking steaks tonight. We got one extra. Can you come over on your lunch break or your dinner break? I said, can I ever? I was starving. So I got in my little 62 Chevy and I drove over there and had a T-bone steak. And when I told that story around their table, that family got as blessed as I, maybe nearly as blessed as I was. But I'm telling you, it was a faith builder. Now, you could say that this was a coincidence. You'd have a hard time convincing me of it. I believe that the creator of the universe had all that orchestrated to build my faith. And that memory stayed with me all these years. Anyway, this episode was to cover what you do with unintended consequences and also convince you that the most powerful thing you can do for people is prayer. Pray for them and bless them. We're going on to the next episode.